There's also a pretty funny, like 10 guys in one car, at the end of the movie where they're going after Mark Wahlberg. On the wall of him giving, you'll see the picture here of him giving the double thumbs up, and it's #1 customer of the month for the adult section. Yeah, because he rents so many pornos.
Hello.
So this is the 64th episode of the Buddy Shots podcast. This is Matt week, which is apropos because it was just your birthday. So happy birthday
to me.
True. You gonna be 64 this year?
I'm old enough to watch The Big Hit.
Ah.
That's the real birthday present.
And so this week we've got... Well, I'll let you say what we have this week for weird watches in the feature film. I think you already said.
Pretty much a genius pairing, which was not intentional. But the craziness of The Big Hit with the craziness of Cop Rock. Two of the weirder watches.
I don't know if I would ever say that this is a genius pairing.
Totally genius.
He's over here sniffing his own farts already.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I'm pumped.
But before we get to any of that fun stuff, we have to get to our first segment that's always not fun, Nerd News.
Well, I don't know why you said not fun, because I've got a really good one this week.
Because we always bitch. That's all we ever do.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on who it's fun for. So go ahead
fun for me, because I thought it was funny.
You thought what was funny?
My nerd news!
Okay.
This is about a new Michael Bay movie called Ambulance. You hear about this? So I guess he was interviewed about this upcoming movie. And I'll just read the quote, because it's a ride, it's a roller coaster. All those explosions and cars flipping, that's all real. That's all live, real ratchets. It looks very dangerous, and it could be dangerous if you don't know what the hell you're doing. If you don't know what the hell you're doing. Most of it is real stunts. There's very few blue screen shots on this movie. There's not a lot of CGI. Some of the CGI is shit in this movie. There's a couple of shots I wasn't happy with. Okay, all right.
I'll move this a little closer to us. Oh my god, what?
I've never heard anyone say that they're anything bad about an upcoming movie. You made the movie. It's your job to make sure it looks good.
Yeah.
So funny. Michael Bay is like a punchline at this point, but I still think he's a really good action director. So
that's why he's a punchline.
Well, he's a punchline because he made a bunch of Transformers movies that were kind of silly.
That and action movies aren't really a thing anymore.
Yeah. But I can't wait to see Ambulance coming November 24th.
I turned into the Joker over here. Are you insane?
Have you ever heard of anyone promoting something and saying anything like that? So
even our worst episode of us a movie we didn't like. I would never be watch this episode because it fucking sucks. I'd be like, dude, check out our podcast, Buddy Shots. You'll like it. You'll be entertained. But I would never be like, it was good, but the Nerd News was fucking shit.
I also liked how at the end he turned into Quentin Tarantino. He was like, I wasn't happy.
I thought you put that in.
No, that was the quote.
I thought you added that at the end. What the fuck?
I know. Good stuff.
Huh? Okay. AI program is writing his stuff now. The AI was like, this movie sucks. There's not a lot of blue screen, but the CGI that's in it sucks. I'm like, okay, then what?
Can be dangerous if you don't know what the hell.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, that could be said of anything. What are you talking about? Yeah, I don't really know. I don't think I really have. I definitely don't have anything to beat that.
Top that.
Trace.
Mic drop.
You drop me on the floor. I'm like, yeah. I mean, all I had was I guess they cast Bill Skarsgård. Skarsgård? Is that how you say it? Skarsgård?
I don't know.
But he's like, and Rupert Sanders, and he's directing in the new Crow movie that we've talked about, the reboot.
Well, first of all, I've never heard of any of those people, but haven't we been hearing about the Crow reboot for like years and years?
But that's all Nerd News is. Generally, it's, I mean, that...
Which reboot's coming out this week?
What you gave wasn't really a news thing. It was just a quote, so...
It was news to me.
It's not news, it's just a quote.
I mean, all quotes are news, in a way.
They're new.
If it's something that's new to you.
I don't know about that.
Let me take that one back to the workshop.
You bring it back next week and you're like, this just in. He killed 100 people.
I've been working all week in the laboratory on the Bush Burger.
That's a good story. Actually, that's pretty much it. I'm not really sure. Oh, I guess, I don't really know anything about these people. I couldn't find anything. I literally searched for like hours on different sites, and there just wasn't anything that was worthy of talking about. So
there's only one set of footprints in the sand. It's when I carried you. Because as we said last week, one of us is Christ 2.0.
This is the this might be the last week when we do Matt Week, because he's like becoming Jesus here. He's thinking he's like the greatest shit since
I cannot be stopped.
Slice cum. Okay, well, let's move on from this segment because this is going nowhere. Actually, I guess before we move on, I kind of want to talk about this. But Johnny Knoxville's having a WrestleMania match.
Oh, really?
Yeah, what do you think about that?
That's awesome.
So WrestleMania is this weekend, and I was thinking maybe, if anything, we could maybe watch his match over the week and talk about it for next podcast.
I mean, he instantly becomes the best character in the WWE, just himself.
But he's facing like Sami Zayn. I guess they've been having a feud, and they've had one since like Royal Rumble, and I'm like, but
love it.
What do you who do you think is going to win that match? Do you think the wrestler's going to win, or do you think Johnny Knoxville's going to win?
Probably the wrestler. Because will Johnny Knoxville be the heel, or is he the?
I don't know. Like I think Sami Zayn is like the heel in this fight, but that doesn't mean shit. Mm-hmm. You know, it could be either or. But yeah, I mean, I guess you would say that like Johnny Knoxville shouldn't win because he's not going to be around. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like if the wrestler beats Johnny Knoxville, it's not really a win. It's like he beat a dude that doesn't wrestle ever.
No, I'd be interested to watch, see what kind of moves.
Hopefully what'll happen, I'm assuming what's going to happen is like Johnny Knoxville is going to be helped out by a lot of his jackass friends, and maybe he'll still lose, but they'll at least be in the ring or something.
That'd be cool.
So those are my predictions. I think I'm on your side. I think that like Sami Zayn will probably win this one. I'd be shocked if they let Johnny Knoxville win a match at WrestleMania, but I don't know. So, that'll be something to look forward to for next week.
Cool. I
don't know. I haven't looked into anything WrestleMania-wise this week, so I don't really know what the hell's going on with that. Maybe they don't either. So, I guess last week I was talking about how I would tell a story or two, some of my more embarrassing stories. So, it's time to pay up.
All right.
So, I guess this week I'm gonna be telling the story of the time that I was scared in the bathroom. So we were at this bar. We had went up to like a cabin that your family owns or whatever, and we went into this like town that I don't even know how many people lived there. Probably like 100, if that. And they had this bar, and we went in there, and I was like, man, I really gotta go to the bathroom. So we went to the bathroom, and I was just in there, and then randomly I heard someone say, I hear your belt jingling in there. And I was like, what the fuck? You know, thinking to myself, and I was kind of like, and then like...
Well, wasn't he knocking, and you like didn't answer? So like...
I don't know. I can't really remember what happened other than that. And then I
know you're in there, boy.
I came out, and literally there was nobody by the door, and there was literally just us in there. And I was like, what the fuck? Okay. So unless like a couple of our friends did that and have never told me about it, I don't know.
Well, I have news for you.
It was
It was me.
Nice.
No. That was weird.
Yeah.
And quotable.
Yeah. And then I have one other story that I don't know if I should tell or not, but...
I would recommend not, but it's all you, man.
Well, then let's not tell it.
All right.
Matt has denied the world my embarrassment for another week. That's why Matt's my longest and most trusted friend, because he watches my back. And when I'm about to say something that would probably get me fucked, he says, no.
Don't do it.
Don't say that.
Beware. The buddy tank.
Okay, so are you ready to move on to your first pick for this week?
No, I have one more segment.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Because I wanted to address an issue that's been bothering me. We've spent a lot of time on this podcast, over the years, praising Bruce Willis. He's one of our favorite actors, and we love Bruno, his music and everything. Yeah. But I made the mistake a few weeks ago of criticizing him for his recent horrible movies that he's been making.
Yeah.
And we found out that he has aphasia and has been having issues that are probably contributing to why that's happening. So I felt bad about that. So to make up for it,
so what's this segment called then?
I'm going to bring back. Let's get ready to Recommendation Nation! Ding, ding, ding.
You know, every time you do this, I just mute it, right? So it doesn't blow people's ears out.
Why? It's the greatest part.
Because it's the most annoying shit ever.
It's an honor to get your ears
and people fucking will not watch the video. Okay, so
I can't talk.
Recommendation.
My recommendation are my top 5 favorite Bruce Willis movies.
Nice.
Not necessarily the best, but my personal.
Are they in
favorites.
order?
They're in order.
Oh, wow.
From 5 to 1.
Wait, did you say not necessarily the best?
Not necessarily the best, but my personal favorites.
Oh, well then they are the best to you.
Yeah.
Okay, well it's number 5.
Number 5, The Fifth Element.
Ah, apropos.
Great movie.
So what's that movie about? That's
it's a movie where
sci-fi.
Bruce Willis had frosted tips.
Yeah. And Chris Tucker played one of the most iconic characters of his life.
Ruby Rod or whatever.
Yeah. Ruby Rod.
I think that was his name.
He's like, Number
4. Unbreakable.
Ah.
It was between that and Sixth Sense, but I think Bruce Willis's acting in Unbreakable is maybe the best of his career. So good.
Number 3.
Number 3. Looper. Probably his last best movie. He's awesome in it, and that movie just kicks ass.
Yeah,
he's very awesome sci-fi
that's
movie.
Mainly a movie that's kind of a half role for him because he plays. Well, I won't say anything about it if you haven't watched it, but him and
just
his name,
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, they play kind of they're both playing half. They're kind of both the main characters. Yeah. So.
But just the premise, he's a hitman who sends people back in time to kill them to cover up the crime, and he's ordered to go back in time to hit himself.
But it's what's his face? It's the guy that sends people back in time or whatever. What's his name?
I don't remember.
Yeah, the dude, I think, right? The guy that plays
Oh, yeah, Jeff Bridges? Yeah, I forgot that. Number 2, Pulp Fiction.
Classic. Yeah. He saves the guy from getting raped to death.
Which ties into my number 1. Because that guy he saved was Samuel Jackson.
Wait,
who co-starred in Die Hard.
He didn't save Samuel Jackson.
With a vengeance.
Did he?
Did he?
No, it was someone completely different because Samuel Jackson was with John
he
Travolta.
starred with Samuel
Jackson. I thought you said he saved him. I was like, what? So go ahead, sorry. What's
For Die Hard with
one?
a Vengeance.
Die Hard with a Vengeance. Yeah, that's a great one.
It's my favorite of the Die Hard movies. The first one's a classic too.
Yeah.
But the team up of Samuel Jackson and Bruce Willis is magic.
Yeah, and I think the bad guy in that one's pretty weak, but the actual because it's all they literally just were let's just have it be the brother of
his
this
long
guy.
lost brother.
But the teaming up of just this ordinary guy, Samuel Jackson, with Bruce Willis as the hardened cop that's already been doing this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where you start to see the invincible armor start to come in for McClane. But it's legit. Yeah, it's a good list.
A couple honorable mentions. The Last Boy Scout. See our previous episode.
Yeah.
Love that movie.
For sure.
And 12 Monkeys is also really good.
That's what I'll have to watch.
Yeah?
Well, you put it on the list, so it sounds good. I have a copy of it at home. I just haven't watched
you've never seen it?
No.
Oh, that's great.
But I've seen 11 Monkeys. Plus one. Yeah, that's... Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel bad for saying anything because at the time we had no clue. But I feel bad for him. And, like, our, you know, my, like, I guess I would say our, like, condolences or whatever. Not condolences because he's not dead, but you know what I mean. Our vibes are with him to, you know.
I was hoping one day he would have a like great comeback, and maybe he will, but he might not. So
yeah, I don't really know anything about that disease. I don't know if it's like a thing where if you get it, like you'll just never be able to talk again, or if it's.
I'm not sure.
So yeah, that sucks. But this was a good segment. I wish I had a thing for it, but I don't really know what this would have been called. The tribute section?
Recommendation Nation. Ding, ding, ding.
Oh, yeah, true. You did already interest. I already forgot about it. I was like, I forgot what the segment was that you had. Weird Watches is up next. Please don't leave yet. There's more of the podcast. Okay, so Weird Watches this week. Cop Rock. So
have you heard of this before?
Fuck no.
I'd heard about it.
I don't know why I said it like that. I'm like, fuck.
I'd heard about it as one of like the most epically bad shows in history, but I knew nothing else about it. So
how'd you even hear about this?
I don't remember. It's just always been in my brain somehow. And I always wanted to watch it.
Is this the first time you watched it?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we'll explain to the folks at home.
Good luck.
What Cop Rock is. I got this off of the. I always get these off the wiki pages, so this is pretty like synced with what it actually is. But so this was a police procedural musical television series in 1990. And it broadcast 11 episodes before it got pretty much like canceled. And it was both a critical and commercial failure when it originally aired.
Wonder why.
And I don't think that's changed. Following the Los Angeles Police Department, Cop Rock features an ensemble cast of police officers and detectives as they solve crimes across the city, with the series mixing musical and choreography. Or wait, how the fuck do you say that? I just fucked that up.
Choreography?
Yeah, sorry. What did I say?
Choreography.
Choreography.
DVD entrapment.
I'm going to WrestleMania. Throughout storylines and to introduce new characters. So, yeah.
What did you think of Cop Rock?
I mean, I think
you like a little bit of rock and roll, a little bit of pop. I like this.
At the end, if we go over my note at the very end, I say, sadly, this is pretty boring. I thought this actually didn't have enough musical numbers in it. Otherwise, it's just a boring cop drama. For the first episode especially, it's like, I think there were just the 2 songs, and it was like, not that they were...
No, there were more than 2.
Were there?
Oh, yeah. Because there was like the rap at the beginning, and then the dude sang like the solo like ballad, which was laughably terrible. Yeah. And then what was it, like the lawyer lady had her number? Was she a lawyer? I forget, but there were more than 2.
I don't remember any of that.
Maybe you didn't watch the same episode. Let's get into it.
So the first one was like this, like we got the power thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so maybe we did watch the same episode. Huh. How long was
Start over.
How long
it was like 48 minutes.
I think the one I found was not the right one because it's like it had like. I think maybe they cut some shit out or something.
Maybe
because I literally just got the thing at the beginning, the Randy Newman song, and then I got like this thing at the end with this lady singing about her baby.
Oh no, there were a couple more. Like you missed the best ones. Like the stupidest songs were in the middle. Where like there was a dude sang about how he would like had a long lost love, and it was like a
okay.
soft ballad, and it was horrible.
I wrote down the lyrics for the ones that I saw also.
Oh man, you missed out on some craziness.
I mean, the ones I saw were pretty fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, the one at the end was actually really depressing.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, so I guess we'll just go to that real quick, but like, it's like this lady finally gets out and gets her like baby, but like she needs drugs, so she sells her baby for like $200 to a random dude. And she's like singing to this baby, and she's like, "Close your eyes now, little girl. They don't want to hear you crying. You never had a chance. It's a great big dirty world. If they say it's not, they're lying. Sandman's coming soon. You know he's coming soon." It's literally just the same shit over and over again. But Randy Newman, since this shit didn't do well, he just took this and reused it for another show.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know Randy Newman was involved. Like,
yeah,
my boy.
It's pretty obvious. Like the theme song, I was like, this is dog shit. It's more like I couldn't understand what the fuck he was saying. Shit. It's like, cool, dude.
So I thought this show was super terrible.
Yeah.
I thought like
maybe I would have had a different opinion if I would have seen all the stuff you saw, but I think I probably still would have not liked it for like, because like
it was an interesting experiment.
The quality of songs is bad.
Yes.
It's like
it was like laughably terrible.
Yeah, like even that first rap, it was like, is this like a after school special? Mm-hmm. But the problem is it's like after school special budget, but with like the people can actually sing, but like the songs are like Jesus fuck, but they're about like actual horrible shit, like people selling off their kids, like the gang, like we're gonna be treated like shit because we're black and stuff like that, and it's like real world issues, and it's like you said, like it's just the song quality is like,
maybe if the songs had been really good, it may have worked, but like it did not work.
If they were halfway as decent as any of the shit they put out from Disney in the last like 50 years, it would have been like it would have been. But
just the mix of like these stupid old fashioned songs with like probably edgy at the time cop stuff, like it was like, what? Yeah. Well, it's not only that, but it's like the stuff that wasn't the musical was just boring as fuck. It was like, I thought it was decent. Like I think at the time it was probably, it could have worked. That's just I mean, it could have worked, but yeah, it's just like the actual, I've seen 100 billion more better cop shows. Yeah. Like the drama itself was just boring. Yeah. I was like, dude. I think that's what kind of pissed me off more than anything, is I was just like, this is pissing me off because it's like wasting my time. I didn't think it was wasting time. I think that's maybe why people didn't like it, because the stuff that wasn't the songs was just boring, and the shit that was songs was at least kind of entertaining because of how bad it was. But it was also like it was hard to laugh. Like embarrassingly. Yeah, it was hard to laugh because of the lyrics and what it's about. It's like, I mean, yeah, you laugh about it, but it's also like, people talking about, giving their babies away and all this other shit, and it's like, dude, I wish you would have seen the full episode that I saw, because like there was a lot of really stupid stuff. I don't know what I think the one I saw was just cut to shit or something, because sadly. I would say it's worth watching if you want to see just something like, oh yeah, I would definitely say you should watch this at least one time. Yeah. Cool. I wouldn't fault you if you wanted to like fast forward through some shit, but I didn't, and I paid the price. Yeah, if you want to see just like the most jarring, like songs that come out of nowhere for no reason, you're like, what? It's not only like that, but it's like it comes out of nowhere when they're trying to do this super serious shit, right. And then like, Mom, don't you cry? I'm about to give you away for $200, you little bitch. I'm like, great. It's just misguided. There was also some suspect, ridiculous acting in this when a dude gets killed. One of the cops was like, no! And I'm like, well, I don't know how I would react if, like, a friend of mine that was my partner died, but, like, this guy was, like, bloody murder over here. They also beat the fuck out of a guy and was, like, a guy was crying about wetting his pants. And then Ronnie Cox is in this, of Stargate SG-1 fame, which I was like, holy shit. And RoboCop. And Deliverance. Yeah, and then Randy Newman does the intro, which let me see. I think I had the lyrics for that because that was it was cheesy. It was a tour de force. There's also a guy in this that looked like Gene Siskel.
Like when they're doing the intro, he's literally just, they cut to him and he's like, I'm like, is that fucking Siskel? Also, like, yeah, that first rap that I saw was like the fucking Super Bowl shuffle. It was like, holy shit.
Around the same time.
This is like a train wreck. So Randy Newman, it's called like Under the Gun or something, but it's like days of sunshine, tears and rain, precious memories of days gone by, eyes of darkness, feeling pain, all the time we had. It's like, what? Then he says, when all that's left is a photograph, someone's golden moment in the sun, doing what had to be done, living under the gun. And then they say under the gun 3 times. When the streets are dark and bare, not a sign come from anywhere. In the alley of the stair, or on the stairs, you call and I will be there. That's the only one that's like halfway decent and kind of rhymes. When no one else seemed to care, living under the gun, like that. What the fuck?
That's not a complete sentence.
Yeah, when no one else seemed to care is like, did fucking like King Kong write this when he just started learning to speak? When no one else seemed to care, living under the gun. It's like,
King Kong learned how to speak?
well, I'm trying to think of like why would you not say when no one else seems to care? But that's like Randy Newman. He's just like, sometimes when he's singing, it's like, I guess he just thinks no one can hear what he's saying, so he can say what the fuck he wants anyway. So then he goes, under the gun, under the gun, under the gun. And it's also, this is very deceptive because it seems like the way that it's sang and shown, it's like, this is a super upbeat show. Mm-hmm. And then you get into the show and it's like, no, there's like prostitutes and like, this is like an actual, this isn't a jokey thing. This isn't like Police Academy, you know? So it's just like jarring. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I think it was a good pick because it was just so wacky, but at the same time, I would never watch this again.
Well, we were right about one thing. It was a weird watch.
It was a weird watch.
Speaking of weird watches, should we get into the main event?
I almost wonder, should we start rating these weird watches or just say watch or not?
Yeah, I say watch. Like, if you'd want to see another episode or not. Which,
yeah, what we've been doing.
I don't know if I would want to see. Like, I'm good with one.
Yeah,
but
me
I'm
too.
glad I saw.
I think my thing is if this was like 30 minutes long, and like it had the same amount of songs in it, and it was, or not the same amount, but you know what I mean. Like it was packed more with songs and less like really bad police drama. Then I would maybe be interested to see the train wreck that occurs. But like fucking almost an hour of this is kind of like, oh, Jesus, dude. Like the main attraction tonight, like that we watched, was like what, an hour 20? It's barely longer than the first episode of Cop Rock. So yeah, I would not watch another episode of this. But good job. I'm like, you picked a movie. Okay, so this week it's the weekly topic. It's Big Hit from 1998, because there's another movie out there that came out in like the 2000s called Big Hit too. But it's not this. So, The Big Hit, 1998 American comedy action film directed by Hong Kong filmmaker Che-Kirk Wong and stars Mark Wahlberg, Lou Diamond Phillips, Christina Applegate, Bokeem Woodbine, Antonio Sabàto Jr., China Chow, Avery Brooks, Lainie Kazan, Elliott Gould, Shimono, and Lela, Rochon.
Elliott Gould humiliating himself.
That's everybody in this film. Yeah.
So
go ahead.
I have a question.
What?
What is this movie? How did this happen?
It's like all over the place. It's like, at first I thought it was going to be like just a shitty action film. Mm-hmm. But like after the first scene, it kind of turns into like almost like a Mel Brooks. I mean, that's kind of like, I wouldn't say that because it's not Mel Brooks level, but it's like almost like a farce. Mm-hmm. Because it turns into like these guys that are super like supposed to be like good at their job. It's kind of like, actually these guys are like super inept. And it kind of breaks down. And that's actually my favorite part, is like after that first hit scene, that's when the movie really gets going for me, because I was hating the first bit, not hating it, but I was like, I started this movie Wednesday, watched a little bit of it, like the first couple minutes, and was like, okay, dude, I can't.
You couldn't make it past a couple minutes?
Yeah. And then I picked it up Thursday and made it through the first hit scene. And when it got to them paying out and all this stuff, that's when I started, like, I got my first laugh with certain things. Mm-hmm. And that's when I was like, okay, this is way better.
Yeah.
Because it's a wild ride. It's totally different than the rest of the film. Like, they try to make it like this super serious, like, you know.
There's like 10 movies in one. In this movie, and like none of them make any sense.
But I will have to say, like, at the end of the day, I actually kind of like this film.
Dude, I'm glad. Yeah. Like, I won't say it's a good movie, but it's fascinating. And it's like, I get the urge to watch it, like, regularly. Yeah. I think mainly because it's so 90s.
We'll talk about it. The whole soundtrack is like, Jesus Christ.
It's one of the most 90s time capsules you can find.
Yeah, it was...
Mark Wahlberg wears Jinko jeans at one point. Did you notice that?
He's also got, like, almost orange hair in this. It's like, I don't know if it's a wig or if his hair is just... Like, there's like dyed so much, that color,
like gel and product in there. Like
everybody's got their, and there's like a fourth guy in this movie that's only in like the very beginning hit scene, and then he shows up at the very end of the movie, and I completely forgot about him. I think it's the guy that's Sabàto Jr. It's like, it's but it's mainly like the main people in this movie are Mark Wahlberg and Diamond Phillips as far as like. The characters you
LDP?
See the most, LDP. But he plays what's his face? Mark Wahlberg plays a socially anxious hitman, Melvin Smiley, an expert in his lucrative field, which he goes on a job and falls in love with his kidnapping victim, turning his world upside down. So I wasn't exactly sure what to expect, but like. He's kind of a fucking scumbag in this film a little bit. I mean, he's a hitman. But, like, he's, like, with Christina Applegate, but he's cheating on her with, like, this other girl, but, like...
A high school student.
Yeah. Well, no, like, his mistress. Like, the mistress. And, like, she's bleeding him dry, while, like, Christina Applegate, like, his, like, fiancé... is like his family is Jewish or her family's Jewish and like he's not, and like he's got all this anxiety in his life because like he needs money for his mistress because she's like, I need money and stuff, and all this other stuff with like, you know, going on, and then he falls in love with this like high school or college student that like is like the kidnapping victim. And, he's, like, a wreck in this film until kind of, like, the end.
Yep. I did like the touch how he has so much anxiety, like his stomach's all messed up, and he has to drink Maalox all the time.
Which, actually, I don't think Maalox is even a thing anymore. Like, I looked it up. Yeah. But Maalox is...
Have you ever drank Maalox?
No, I don't think I ever really fucked around with Maalox because Maalox, let's see here, I actually have a note on Maalox here.
You put in the man hours.
So, Maalox is like medicine that's used to treat the symptoms of too much stomach acid. So it's like heartburn and acid indigestion. Like Tums would be if you were like sick to your stomach because you ate something. But this seems to be like something where it's like, you know, belching, bloating, feelings of pressure, discomfort in the stomach and gut. So this would be like, I think like ulcers and like stuff that comes from stress and like that kind of stuff. So like, but he was like, he's not an alcoholic, but he's chugging this
and it was Maalox. So funny at one point he opens the medicine cabinet and it's all completely filled with Maalox, like laid out like a, so funny.
Also, I don't know if you did this on purpose or you knew this, but this movie... Much like House Guest is a advertisement from McDonald's, this movie is an advertisement for King Kong Lives. Like, they show clips from it all the time, and there's a running gag where he has to return a movie And the movie is
It's like
King
a
Kong
big
Lives.
plot point.
Yeah, it is. It's like
It's
actually
his favorite movie, and he has it checked out, I guess.
Yeah. And this dude keeps calling, and the guy keeps leaving these like ridiculous messages. This like geek, which is kind of funny because I don't know which one's more rare. I guess this one was probably easier to find than King Kong Lives, but they're probably both pretty obscure films.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. I was like, did Matt do this on purpose? Because like this is pretty. But now that I have a copy of King Kong Lives, we can do it on the podcast.
Yes. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Like I love King Kong Lives before I saw this movie, so when that happened, I was like,
You're
dude, this is amazing.
That had to have been something that like somebody in the cast or like the director was a huge fan of, because
otherwise, why the hell is it King
why
Kong
is it such
Lives?
right?
So weird.
Right. My second note after just me writing down Thursday is I don't even know if I'm going to be able to take notes for this film. I can't fucking even understand what's going on right now. I think this film fucking broke me or something.
Yep.
But then it definitely got like better.
Yeah, because like the action, John Woo is a producer on this,
Yeah.
and the action is like John Woo style, although it's terribly done.
Yeah, it's like
Unlike-
it's a joke
Yeah.
of itself. Like there's so many things that happen. Like so I'm gonna actually pull up some pictures here from action scenes, and we're gonna look at it together.
That's cool.
So we've got this guy that gets shot and he's spinning. Remember that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that on screen for people to see. Then we've got one of my favorite scenes where a guy is clearly getting pulled into the back corner of a room from a gun, like a pistol shot.
Yeah.
There's also a pretty funny like 10 guys in one car like at the end of the movie where they're going after Mark Wahlberg. And it's supposed to be him and the girl, but in the car, she's not there. But this reminds me of all those like games in the arcades where like you would be shooting at guys and there'd be like 10 dudes in a car or more. But these guys,
and they're chasing each other in like the slowest speed.
They're all in minivans too. But they're all hanging out like I can't even like they had to have had some special rig for that.
Yeah,
because that's ridiculous. Because there's like a guy back here too, so it's like, I guess we'll go. Should we go through these other pictures? Or?
Yeah.
So, this is a picture of Lou Diamond Phillips when he crashes into Mark Wahlberg towards the end of the film, and he looks like a maniacal son of a bitch.
So, what'd you think of LDP in this movie?
Oh man, you were right. You were like, you're gonna love his character, and at the beginning, I really didn't like anybody because they were all being like super jocks and like, oh, I was, having sex with
Captain
tons of
Kick-Asses.
women. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's funny because you find out like pretty much all of them are full of shit. And I think that's why, even though I didn't like the first scene, it was a good setup. Because like towards the end of the film, they go into the video store and fight, and Bokeem Williams is like, I didn't jerk off till like last week because I've never needed to. He's like, I had sex for the first time when I was 10. But they go into this video store, and there is a picture on the wall of him giving like you'll see the picture here of him giving the double thumbs up, and it's #1 customer of the month for the adult section. Yeah, because he rents so many pornos. Because there's a part in this film where like it's just him after he gets off the phone with Mark Wahlberg, and he like picks up a porno and he looks at his hand, and he's like, "Here we go," and I'm like, "What the fuck?"
So of all the crazy, stupid stuff in this movie, that is my favorite joke, is like how he just discovered like masturbation.
Yeah.
And he like loves it and wants to tell everyone how awesome it is. Like
also like Lou Diamond Phillips' face and Mark Wahlberg's face when they see the poster when they're like fighting each other to death is like one of the funniest things, because Lou Diamond Phillips is like about to like stab him, and then he's like looks up and he's like surprised, and then Mark Wahlberg's sitting next to the poster, and then he like looks over and they're like, what the fuck? But it's just
also he's like strengthening his hand. It's like
what? That's
he
also
falls in love with his hand, basically.
Well, the funniest thing is like about this whole thing to me is that like a place would take a picture of you as like maybe like a place would be like you're the number one customer, so maybe. But for the adult section and it's out in the open
that
and
would be like shameful.
Yeah, he's like loving it. Yeah. Like that's I think that was probably one of, I don't know if I want to say it's my favorite joke in this, but it was like, it probably was, because I was cracking the fuck up. I was like, what the because it was that and then Lou Diamond Phillips selling it. I was like,
straight jacket.
Yeah. So good, dude. Yeah, like I said, at the beginning I hated this film, but then once the ridiculousness set in, it was like, because it never got like badass again. Like they were all like, I will say, I think like some of the best acting I've ever seen ever is in this film from Avery Brooks when he talks about. So essentially, they kidnap the college girl, and it ends up being this guy they think is Rich's like daughter, and that ends up being actually Avery Brooks' goddaughter. And he's like, I want to get these motherfuckers. And he's like, tell me what you're going to do to him. And he's like, bust a cap. Bust some caps. And he's just like, caps! I'm going to put you in charge of the whole thing. And I'm like, holy shit. But it's like the one episode of Deep Space Nine where he gives the monologue, and I'm like, holy shit.
This is the scariest thing
This
I've
is
ever
the
seen.
Greatest thing in Star Trek history. He was like, do I feel bad? No. And I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it was just like, yeah. Because this guy's like, Avery Brooks plays like the boss that gives him like the hits to kill people. And he's like somebody you don't want to mess with. So he's like a mob boss kind of guy. So like when they bring in what's his face that started this whole thing, Lou Diamond Phillips, he's like, who would do such a thing? He was like disgusting. There was a funny thing when they're waiting to go in and kill people. Lou Diamond Phillips offers non-dairy creamers to the random other white guy that like is never seen again until the end of the film. And then later on, that random guy that accepts the non-dairy creamer says, I want to pour milk on you and make you part of my complete breakfast to these two women. And I'm like, so are you just taking whatever you can get as far as creamers, or you just don't really care?
Yeah.
But that line was like cracking me up, because I was like, what? Like, let's talk about a complete breakfast here. There was a bungee jumping scene that was ridiculously stupid, but it was also funny. Like,
and it looked
Mark Wahlberg's like boing, boing, like bouncing up and shooting.
He bungee
dudes.
jumps out of a building shooting people, and he, on the rebound, an explosion like blows him back down.
Yeah.
This is like something that I would dream up in like 5th grade. It's like, that would be so awesome.
Yeah, somebody before they knew what physics were. Because he also plank rolls down the stairs, which is impossible. Like, there was no way.
And it's just stupid.
Like, yeah, he's like rolling over.
It doesn't look cool.
On the banister.
It's not practical.
He's like shooting and killing people as he's like rolling down the fucking thing. There's also a scene where he finally kills the guy that they're supposed to kill for the hit. And the guy's in the elevator. Mark Wahlberg's here, and somehow he's able to shoot him from the side, and it hits him in the front. I was like, that's just the kind of movie this was. And I was like, one way to do a hit and not be noticed, blow up the fucking building.
Yeah,
because that's the thing that they have, is this little like thing that they can like hit the two things and like the chemicals mix, and it's like a bomb that they like put down. So they play some ska song after Benjamin Sisko. Avery Brooks has them all there for like the payoff, and the man is like kind of, it's like that's what the song is by
Save Ferris.
Yeah,
that's the moment when I first saw this movie where I was like, okay, this, because I think it's when like the garage doors all open at the same time and the dudes all start mowing their lawns and synchronized with this Save Ferris ska music, and I'm like,
and then he just like comes in and it's like he's doing this random shit and it's like, I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. And I'm like,
I'm like, I have literally gone back to the 90s.
Yeah. Some of these lyrics are like
Kung
Fu, that was one of my good ones. And what's a few broken bones when we all know it's good, clean fun? Skateboards, I've almost made them respectable. It's like, okay. Just a lot of random lines like, I'm the man, and then like in the middle of saying, I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. I'm the man that gave you the hula hoop. I'm the man that gave you the yo-yo. So,
there you go.
Also, Mark Wahlberg apparently has a reoccurring thing where he goes to the incorrect house, and it's like
the joke is that all those suburban houses,
which
look
makes
exactly
no
the
sense
same.
because the doors are painted completely different.
Yeah, and like, why is this stupid movie trying to have satire?
Yeah.
It's like, what?
But like
all.
it's like he lives there. He should fucking know. He's like pulling into the wrong side. And it's like the wrong color door. I was like, okay, dude. But that's like an ongoing thing. So we got our first time of a guy calling Mark Wahlberg because he has a copy of King Kong Lives out for 2 weeks.
Yeah, so what did you think of this video store character? The Big Top Video employee.
Big Top Video. Well, he threatened to have Mark Wahlberg killed if he didn't return the tape. This guy was like a complete nerd. But he thought he was, like, the coolest shit because he was, like... This was, like, the first internet troll because he was able to, like... He was anonymous.
I just thought the performance was, like, something that you would
have
seen in, like, a high school
Yeah, he was
play.
So over the top and out of control. It was, like... Yeah, in a play, like, this guy would be, like, the most loved character.
Yeah.
Because,
it reminds me of one of our friends in high school would, like, do a character like this.
Right. Also, they have the 90s record scratch when cock block happens. It was like, she's like, that turns me off. And he's like, and I was like, okay. So yeah, they don't know he's not Jewish, and he's like, oh, like it's like more, you know, more stress on top of stress. Mark needs money. He's being drained. Speaking of draining all of your money, the guy that like is the dad of the daughter they kidnapped, he made a movie called Taste the Golden Spray.
Cracks me up.
Good Lord, excuse me. And it literally bankrupted him. And there's a part where they go and like, I didn't even know this was part of like the actual hit. I thought they just killed this guy randomly, but it's like they kill a limo driver that is her limo driver, and Mark Wahlberg takes over, and he picks her up with like this guy that I don't know if it's her like boyfriend or somebody she knows at college or whatever, but he like literally starts like trying to like rape her in the back seat, and he also is a racist, so he's like a racist rapist. And so Mark Wahlberg just kills him. Yeah, he like shoots him with a pistol and fucking puts his body in the fucking trunk. This is where you really see like the ineptitude for the first time, because when they have her out to read this note and all this other stuff, she calls him like the Spice Boys, and like she's like, read this stuff, or he's like, you know, Lou Diamond Phillips is like, read this note. He's like, you must be the millionaire, and he's like, pretty soon. And it's like, Father, I have been abducted. And it's like, abducted. It says abduct.
That's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Is like they wrote an incompetent note.
Yeah, it's
she's like calling him out on their BS.
Yeah, it's like, give me 500 Mooney or something instead of like, give us the Mooney. And I think it was like the guy that like was his like guy that thought he was like, you know, gonna be a rapper, like his assistant, like Lou Diamond Phillips' assistant, like this loser guy. Like he wrote this note, it seems like. And then Lou Diamond Phillips, at the very end of all this whole shenanigans, just, like, writes a new one, and it's just, like, give us, you know, the money or I die kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But it's, like, there's this whole thing going, and it's, like, hilarious. There's also an ongoing joke where, like, they can't give Christina Applegate's dad a drink. And I thought that was going to pay off to where, like...
Oh, it paid off.
Well, I mean, really paid off. Like, I thought it was going to be, like... Not that he just got drunk, but, like, when he gets drunk... Or, like, when he gets drunk, he does horrible shit. Like, he, like... I don't know. Honestly, what I thought was going to happen is he was finally going to drink, and then when when it shows up and stuff, I thought that, like, he was going to start beating ass. Like, he was going to be like, he gets drunk and he becomes like a fucking drunkard.
Well, that would have been way funnier than what actually happened to this movie.
It would have made more sense as far as, like, if you're building something up, because, like, what ends up happening is, like, when he gets drunk, he just gets drunk and he just speaks his mind, and it's like...
And eventually he starts puking all over
everybody. Right. But it's, like, that's not really a payoff. It's just, like, it's something that would happen if somebody drank a fuck ton. It paid off as far as, like, what he did. He helped and stuff, but it was, like, I was kind of swerved there. I guess I was expecting something more.
It's a weird part of this movie. And especially for Elliott Gould, like, one of the coolest actors of the 70s. Right. Like, totally embarrassing himself in this movie and playing, like, a disgraceful...
Well, they also, like, play it up like it's, like, if he drinks, it's going to be, like, the worst thing that ever happens.
They're like, no! Yeah,
but all he does is just, like, get drunk, becomes super, like, open, and then eventually throws up. It's like, it's just what happens if you drink a lot of, like, alcohol. It's not... I thought he was going to start whipping people or, like, punching people or some shit.
But the way he, like starts drinking and, like, sneaks alcohol is, like, the way a Looney Tunes character
is. He was, like, putting into
so
prune
cartoonish.
Juice, and then he was like, dun, 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 dun. Like, yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. But it's like, they were like, don't give him a drink, but then he started getting it himself, so it's like, do they lock the drinks down at his house, or they just not have drinks? Yeah, watching King Kong Lives, there's a whole part where they're talking about trace busters and getting a buster to bust the buster, and it's like, we get the trace buster, and what if they have a trace buster? Then I've got a trace buster, and then, like, when what's his face, like, when they finally call, the dad of, like, the kidnapping victim has, like, a shit ton of them, like, all connected to bust the bust or whatever. Speaking of which, he was about to commit suicide.
So that was one of the funniest, like, scenes in this movie.
Yeah.
I was dying.
Because he has, like, he's essentially broke and he's fucked. And, like, he's completely naked except for he's got, like, a, whatever it's called, like a loincloth on. And he's got, like, a sword, and he's about to, like...
He's singing, like the ritualistic song, and, like, right as he's about to do it, he keeps getting interrupted.
Yeah.
Which is just a funny idea.
Yeah.
And the way he, like, plays it is, like, the comic timing is so hilarious.
So, I looked this up, and, because I never really looked this up before, as far as, like, seppuku versus harikari or whatever. And, apparently, both of these are actually, like, stomach deals, and this is not what he was doing. Like, he was going straight for his fucking, like, heart. Really? So I thought that, like, it was supposed to be, like...
This movie had a mistake in
seppuku,
it. I can't believe it.
But I think it was supposed to be, but, like, if he was really gonna do it, in the way that... I mean, I guess you can kill yourself however you want. But
you're supposed to, like, disembowel yourself.
Right, yeah. Like, it's an honorable death or ritualistic suicide by disembowelment that can only be conducted by a samurai. But most people, I guess, like, Japanese people, like, they never really use the word harikari and prefer the word seppuku. Because harikari refers to the action of cutting stomach, while seppuku represents the ritual and the traditional procedure of cutting the stomach. And then I put, so this is neither, since he was going for the heart. But it has
interrupted 3 straight times in this.
It does have, like, the ritualistic part to it, because, like you said, he's, like, in the thing, and he's kneeling, and he's chanting and singing in, like, his native tongue, and it's like, and then right when he's about to do it, it's like the phone rings, and he's like, it's like, Jesus.
Just the idea of someone getting annoyed that they're, like, they can't kill themselves because they keep getting interrupted.
Not only that, but it's like, they have most people, if they're going to kill themselves, they would take the phone off the hook. Which makes me believe that he really didn't want to.
Ah.
As evident by he doesn't. Lou Diamond Phillips ran some fuck-ups. they've kidnapped the goddaughter of Avery Brooks. Oh yeah, that part where he speaks Japanese was really cool. Where it's like he's like, bastard, that son of a bitch will die, and it's like all in Japanese. Get your ass down here in 20 minutes. Oh fuck no! I'm searching for these motherfuckers. Just a random ska music note I have here. Dog fucking with body parts in a bag.
This is like where the farce.
Yeah, this is where it really starts to just get like
Marky Mark is trying to like entertain his like future parents-in-law while at the same time like cover up a gruesome
murder and keeping the kidnapped victim from like escaping, and it's like all over the place. It's like literally.
I think that stuff's
this
highly
is like a
entertaining.
Looney Tunes section. Yeah.
It's stupid, but it's highly.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch.
So, after all this, the idiot calls. Even it's like, if he wouldn't have called, it would have been like totally fine. Because Diamond Phillips is like, don't call. Don't do a thing till I get back. And he's like, I can handle this, and he calls, and they trace him, and somehow the trace doesn't trace really where he's at. It more so traces who he is, like it traces off his voice, and it shows like a picture of him digitally, and I'm like, what? But like I thought that was hilarious. But like his Diamond Phillips reaction is like priceless because he's smoking a cigarette, and when it calls, it's like the cigarette like falls out of his mouth, and he's like.
He's great in this movie.
Yeah. And then, a bunch of laser dots show up on him, and he's like, what's going on here? And they, like, go in and, like, fucking, what's-his-face, like, kills him. Like, Diamond Phillips, like, stabs him, and he's like, you always said you want to do something for me? Well, die for me. But, like, he's like, who could do this? Who could have done this? Who would be behind this? You gotta tell me. And he's like, Melvin. He's like, tell me. He's like, you better fess up to who's the ringleader of this, Melvin. He keeps telling him that. He's like, Melvin? And he's like, Melvin Smiley is behind this kidnapping? And they're all like, it's like the worst acting of all time. So what'd you think about the whole part where like they're cooking dinner for like his in-laws that are going to happen, and they're, like, massaging the hell out of this, like, chicken sensual style.
The chicken rubbing scene.
Yeah, and then, like, they get, like, this sauce on her leg, and he, like, starts, like, wiping it off. And
it's
I'm like,
weird to watch, man. It's weird.
Yeah,
weird, wild
this is
stuff.
very, like, 90s, 2000, early 2000s stuff where it's, like, I don't want to say obviously this wasn't in every movie, but, like, girls with, like, Catholic schoolgirl kind of stuff and short skirts, and it was, like, her skirt was so short at points you could see her fucking underwear. And I was like, this was a totally, like, 90s thing. Like, but like,
I like that scene a lot just because it's really weird.
Yeah, it's really weird because, like...
It's uncomfortable to watch, but also, like, I thought China Chow was great in this movie. Like, I loved her character.
I'd never heard of this person before.
Me neither.
I watched it anyway. Yeah, it was...
And, like, I think her and Mark Wahlberg, like, actually have chemistry.
Yeah, I think it was weird, though, because, like, the way that it was, like, done was, like...
It's super creepy.
Yeah, and it's like Mark Wahlberg's, like...
It's like, why?
A character that I don't really feel... Like, you're supposed to feel compassion for this guy, but he's, like... Not only does he have, like, a mistress... He's, like, going out on his, like... He's cheating on both of his, like, people. And then now this new person comes in, and he's, like... This is the person, and I'm gonna touch him. He burned the fuck out of the bird, so they had to, like, he got catering.
And I don't know if it was intentional, but, like, them rubbing the chicken together was, like, disgusting.
Oh, yeah, it was, like, because it was
supposed to be, like, a sensual
Yeah,
scene,
but it's, like, he's stuffing it, and there's all this other shit going on, and I'm like, this is just gross. Like, so Diamond Phillips shows up, and they've got guns under the table, and this is the scene where, we were talking about earlier, where Mort finally is like, oh, I'm fucking drunk as hell, and he's, like, telling everybody what he really feels of him, and, my wife spent all my money to look like a 20-year-old creature, and she's, like, hideous, and my daughter is, like, a gold digger, and, Mark Wahlberg, you seem like a nice guy, you deserve better than this, and... Then he, like, ends up, like, puking on Diamond Phillips, and he's like, ugh! And
when that happened, I was like, all bets are off in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, this is so ridiculous.
And then, like, there's a part that was actually pretty smart where, like, he's about to throw up on Lou Diamond Phillips again, and he blocks it with, like, a pillow.
He's like,
yeah. And, like, Lou Diamond Phillips in this scene keeps saying, baby. And I was like, what?
Yeah, he's dialing it up, like.
And Mark Wahlberg is like, I don't know if this is just a thing that he does in every movie. It seems like it, but maybe this is just who he is. But he's so nice, like way more nice than he should be. Like we just got done talking about how he's like a cheating piece of shit, but like the stuff that happens, like he's like, I guess I'll see you later. I hope you guys have a good day, ma'am. And I'm like,
he's like so polite and mild mannered.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, it's like
it's weird.
He also does like a Steve Urkel and like drives off with a garage door. So we already talked about all the dudes hanging off the van. He got his money and a copy of King Kong Lives from like his mistress because he's like, you were gonna keep this? Shame on you. Like he doesn't tell him to fuck off. He just is like, shame on you. Avery Brooks says, great driving, Mario. And I was like, yahoo! Lou Diamond Phillips is maniacal. We already looked at that picture. Movie's an ad for King Kong Lives. Lou Diamond Phillips' car is somehow able to run over trees in the forest.
Okay, so this part, like, either this movie is so incompetent, which it definitely is, but like this felt like a reshoot or something because it was so jarring with the rest of the movie. Because like they're in the town where the video store is, and like he runs into him. And all of a sudden, they're like on this massive cliff, like the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
Like, where did this come from?
It's weird because there's a part where like they're like barely in a tree, like they crash. But then when they like get out of the car, like you see that there's like nothing for them to fall down to. It's like they're just in a forest. So it's like I think there were just a lot of location changes.
Yes.
Because like there are things where it clearly looks like Everglades, like from Florida, but then when you like some of the scenes are shot in like Canada in like all these tree area where like they don't have those kinds of trees, and I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, I think like you said, it was just like definitely like stitching together shots that are nowhere near each other.
Yeah. I liked how over the top the action was, but I was just like, this is so crazy.
Yeah. And he saves the copy of King Kong Lives. Car falls on other car, killing Lou Diamond Phillips.
Yep.
Or does it?
There's no way he could survive that.
Taste the golden spray statue. He's like, this is
Inside
the most
the
expensive, statue ever made for the video store. Awesome. I was like, okay.
So what'd you think of the Big Top Video location?
I actually have a note that says this video store is pretty cool. It's got a second level.
Dude, I wanted to like be in that store
I
so
was like,
bad.
this is like legit.
So awesome.
I like how they showed Lou Diamond Phillips actually survived. They go back and show a scene we just saw like 5 seconds ago, and they show an alternative version of it where he like jumps into the water, and it's like
that's what made me think of like reshoots because that was probably supposed to be the end of the movie.
Right.
Like, we need one more action scene.
That's what I was thinking too, because it was like
because it's just
it
like,
got too
out of nowhere,
out of control. Yeah, the number one customer of the month adult section. Video store owner was crying at the end when it got blown up because like I thought you think it's like the girlfriend or like the kidnap victim crying, but they pan over and it's like him. He's like, my store.
Yeah.
But they had this big fight and eventually like he blows up the place like because Lou Diamond Phillips like grabs these like things and blows it up.
I did appreciate the fact that the movie ended with a knife fight.
Yeah,
like so many
cool.
80s and 90s action movies.
Yeah.
You have to end with a knife fight. So.
It was kind of like a one-sided knife fight, really. Yeah. But like he survives by being under the golden taste the golden spray statue. And like at the end when he shows up, he's like they do a reprise of "I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man."
Which is so appropriate for this movie because, like, you can tell the filmmakers like thought they were all the man.
Oh
in
yeah,
this movie and like, but they're
this
not.
was like if we had been able to actually make a movie when we were doing those zombie films, and it's like we were all about the Captain Kick-Ass thing, the "Come with Me,"
like the coolness
Puff
factor,
Daddy or whatever.
So I wanted to ask you, like, I'm pretty sure we agree that this movie, like, is not cool.
Right.
But do you think even when it came out, this would have been considered cool?
Yeah.
Really?
I think so, because during this time, I mean,
this is a different time.
Frosted Tips and all that shit was in. Like, this is
Jinko jeans.
This is of its time.
Yeah.
So for sure, it actually, I looked it up, and in the first weekend, it almost made all its money back.
I remember when it came out,
and then when it like fully grossed, it definitely made all of its money back, and like then some.
Man.
It just.
Do you think there could be a sequel?
I never heard of this film until you talked about it. I think it just maybe had shit marketing, maybe, or at least I never heard of it. So. Which doesn't mean it's shit marketing. It just means it's, I don't know.
In their defense, like, how could you ever market this movie? Like, it's so weird.
I don't know. I mean, you can market any movie. I don't think that's...
It was marketed as, like, a John Woo action
I don't think
movie.
that's a good excuse. I think it's just, it depends on how you market it. If I would have marketed this, I would have marketed this as, like, a comedy, because that's what it is. I mean, honestly, I think they should have just went full comedy in this, like Loaded Weapon style comedy.
Mm-hmm.
It did kind of get like that to a degree towards the end, but it was never on the same level of like a Mel Brooks style comedy where it's like straight, characters and played like straight, and then like the comedy is because of the stuff that's happening. It's like there were definitely parts where like Diamond Phillips is like a maniacal, crazy Joker character. But
then my other question is, do you think like the people who made this movie were like in on all the jokes, or if like some of the comedy was it all intentional, or like, because I'm not sure.
Yeah, you mean like as far as like, is it like a Birdemic or like a
Right.
Trolls 2 thing
Right.
where like they thought they were making an awesome film, but like it ended up being like just kind of a joke?
Yeah. I mean, clearly there's brilliant jokes in here, but
Yeah,
there's also so much stupid stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like obviously like the scene where he's trying to like keep the girl kidnapped, entertain the people, and the dog fucking with the stuff, that's an obvious slapstick like thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I think they had to have known that they were making like a more of a comedy,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe what they tried to do was make it super action, but then they just put so much shit in that was comedy. They just said, you know what, fuck this, because that's happened before where it just kind of, it skips over to, and they didn't want to reshoot the first little like 10 minutes of the film, because like that part, like from that point on, it's like it's just a joke.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I think I would have been more upset if maybe this movie started off and it was like hard boiled, and then the last like the first 10 minutes was hard boiled, and the last like whatever was like like I'm trying to think of a shitty comedy, but that's the thing. Is this movie wasn't a shitty comedy. It was actually pretty funny.
Yeah, that actually reminds me. There's one John Woo movie with Chow Yun-fat, Once a Thief, I think, where it's just that. Like, it's a kick-ass action movie for like the first 90% of it, and then it turns into a crazy comedy, and you're like, what? I think that may be just like a cultural difference in comedy.
Well, I think it's because like comedy is
what is that?
Something that like that's kind of like that City Hunter Jackie Chan movie,
Right.
Where like, but yeah, I don't know. Like that's a thing that like I think comedy is more. It's more like they're fine with doing like goofy stuff, and it's like acceptable, and it's like it works more over there. Whereas like here, if you were to do it, it would be like 90% of the movie would be like a badass movie, like Hard Boiled, and then the last 10% of the movie would be like a shitty comedy. Like I'm trying to think of a bad comedy.
Once a Thief is the one. It's exactly that.
That's been done like nowadays, like because like the comedy that was done in this, it wasn't like the best ever, but it was better than any of the like most of the comedies that have been made in the last like 5 years. Because most of the comedies now are like gross out, or it's just improv SNL bullshit. It's like there is no like comedies. Like I think the last really good comedies I can think of that even came out were like maybe like
Holmes and Watson.
No, probably like Step Brothers or something like that, or Wedding Crashers maybe, or I don't even know. No, not Wedding Crashers.
Bridesmaids.
No, that one movie where like they're in a college and Will Ferrell was like not drinking, and then he starts drinking and he goes
Old
drinking.
School?
Yeah. But that's the last time when I can even remember something that was like a comedy being actually somewhat funny, whereas like now it's like all Bridesmaids and Ghostbusters, Answer the Call. Anyway, so it'd be like that. It'd be like if they were like hard boiled and then they were like, actually, it's SNL improv time for the last 10% of this movie.
Yep.
I'd be like, on the man, on the man, on the man, on the man. So what do you give this film?
Well, I have a few more notes.
Bullshit.
What did you think of Christina Applegate in this movie?
She was okay.
I thought she's one of the few.
I don't really have anything to say about her, really. I mean, well, I guess I do. Like, I feel like she did like an okay accent. It was fine. And also like I've never thought that she was bad. I've always thought that she was like either okay or like good in films. Like okay or like awesome. So like I think the thing is like she was not in this a lot. She was in like, you know, you finally meet her as like his fiance, like, you know.
Yeah.
And she was you know, it's not like I'm saying she was bad. Obviously, she played her part.
Yeah, I think she's one of the few that like doesn't embarrass themselves at any point in this movie.
She doesn't have anything goofy to do in this movie. Like,
straight jackin' saves you that mad cream. It's a great line. One of the greatest lines in movie history.
It's debatable. Or master debatable.
Oh.
Straight jacking. It's like, what? Why?
We talked about all the hair product used in this movie. I think one of the reasons I like this movie is it just like is easy to look at. Like it's brightly lit. Like it's very colorful. It just reminds me of the 90s so much.
And there's no like shaky cam.
Yeah, definitely no shaky cam. And like it takes me back to the 90s.
Yeah, for good or for bad.
Also, there's lots of like dudes wearing collared shirts that are like open, which was I know we both used to do and still do to this day.
Well, I would wear something under that shirt, but in this movie, they're wearing it without anything under it for the most part. Yeah.
And then I guess the last thing is we should mention Roger Ebert's review.
Yep.
So what'd you think? Do you have any predictions on how much he loved it?
If he said anything good about it, I will eat like I'll eat one of those dog bones. I'll be shocked.
Which you've done before. See a previous video that you posted.
I'm actually just looking for excuses to eat dog food, honestly, now.
He hated it. He gave it 1 star. I'll just go through some of the highlights.
Or the lowlights.
The characters in this movie exist in a twilight zone where thousands of rounds of ammunition are fired, but no one ever gets shot unless the plot requires them to. The bullets have read the screenplay.
See, the thing that I hate about that, like, before we go on anymore, is because, like, I don't, like, you know, Roger Ebert, like, you can't really take anything away from him because he's, like, him and Siskel, like, paved the way for us, pretty much, to do what we want to do. But, like, once again, he's missing the point that it's a fucking film, and, like, not only that, but, like, why would you critique that out of all the things? Like,
yeah, all the
like
millions of...
nobody gets shot in this comedy fucking film. Why aren't people being killed? It's like,
well, there's more.
More for me to bitch about.
They dress for work. They're garbed as utility workers. As they saunter down the street to the pumping soundtrack, they look like a downsized road company version of the Village People. Is he like trying to make a stand-up comedy with
Harry Knowles over here?
Yeah. Let's see, there's a few other highlights in here.
Hell yeah.
This is most likely the first movie in which the hero hitman is named Melvin Smiley.
I would agree. It's not really a criticism, it's just a statement.
But he does smile a lot.
He's like, let's put a smile on that face. Fucking
Keiko falls in love with Melvin with astonishing rapidity.
Was that her name?
I guess.
I forgot.
Christina Applegate is Jewish for the sole purpose of having 2 Jewish parents so they can appear in the middle of a movie like refugees from Woody Allen picture and provide crudely stereotyped caricatures.
Well, if they had to have 2 Jewish parents in it and she was religious, and like, why would she not be Jewish? Like,
I thought they were like total stereotypes, though. It was pretty.
Oh, I mean, yeah, for sure.
Offensive.
But I mean, there's way worse things they do in this film. They
Agreed.
make fun of like homosexuals and other shit.
Here's the final statement, which is the most memorable and the most damning.
He's like, "You're wet. Enjoy."
I guess you could laugh at this. You'd have to be seriously alienated from normal human values and be nursing a deep-seated anger against movies that make you think even a little, but you could laugh.
What?
It's like you hate movies that make you think, basically, if you like this movie.
I guess you could laugh at this. You would have to be seriously alienated from normal human values and be nursing a deep-seated anger against movies that you would think even a little bit...
That make you think even a little.
What? But you would laugh. He's like, you would laugh. I'm like, okay. He's like, I condemn this film.
And anyone who laughs at it.
I don't really understand that. What else are you supposed to fucking do with this film? It's a comedy.
It's hilarious.
Dumbass. I'm not like trying to always shit on Roger Ebert, but like, I don't know. I feel like for me at least, like, I mean, he's done like a ton of stuff, and there's been stuff that like I agree with him on, but like, I just kind of shocked sometimes how he misses the mark on certain things. Like, I don't know. I'm sure
comedies and horror movies were not his forte. Like
which shocks me that he liked Dawn of the Dead. Like, how the fuck did that? He actually hit the mark on that and understood it. But like this, it's like, I mean, not like I'm trying to defend fucking The Big Hit, but like, I don't know. I guess if I watched as many movies as he did, I probably would be insane more than anything. Because he had to watch a ton of fucking films. Like, I think like every week they reviewed like how many? Like 6 or more? Mm-hmm. God, I'd be fucking jumping off a bridge.
You're in hell.
Not that, I don't know. I guess that makes it seem like I hate watching films, but I generally can only stomach one film that I don't pick out myself a week. Personally. But you're more of a movie guy, so you're more in the Ebert
That's
camp.
my dream job, but you'd have to watch way more garbage, and it would make you
a salty fuck.
Yes,
like Roger Ebert.
Yeah,
and Gene Siskel.
So what would you give this? What's your rating?
7.95.
7. Yeah, I think I'd probably do 7.95.
Hell yeah.
I highly recommend watching this if you enjoy the 90s aesthetics or you want to see just a weird movie.
Fuck that. Movie. Watch this movie anyway. Watch this movie no matter what. Okay, don't watch it no matter what. That's not... I'm like, no matter what you do, watch this movie. What's weird watches for next week since you get to pick again?
Oh, I got to go again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's... you get to pick for your week and then you pick the week after.
Let's go with... Pack. I wasn't prepared.
You're good. I'm going to get this other thing ready while you're doing that.
The Time Tunnel.
Okay. Well, hopefully this is something that's actually findable.
I forgot to check again.
That's okay.
Oops. If not, I have a backup.
We changed it from last week. What was the one you picked?
Bosom Buddies.
Bosom Buddies.
Which I really want to see that
It's
now.
like impossible to get a hold of. Like,
I'm not going to spend $200 for a DVD.
Yeah, it's like, fuck that, dude. Okay, so this is the next week is a buddy pick, and once again, I'm going to ask you to pick a number. Let's see, let's do 2 through. Problem is, some of these people have already had some of their shit picked. Their shit's been picked. Let's do 2 through 10 because one's already been picked like a couple times. 8. Okay. Oh, we did this one like the last time. This person's shit.
Maybe we should pick a different one.
Yeah, let's give somebody else a chance. Let's do 2 through 10 again, but not 8.
10.
Okay, that's Kevin, our friend.
Which Asian horror movie are we gonna watch this week?
Well, pick A through D. He's got 4 films on here.
C.
So we're watching a movie called The Villainous from 2017.
All right.
He says that we'll both really like this film, or at least you will. I think he said it was like an action film.
Yeah, it's in my list to see, so that works out great.
That works out. So next week we've got.
It's available on Amazon Prime.
That's what I like to see.
You.
I don't have to spend any fucking money. Okay. Well, do you have anything else to say for Matt Week? Matt?
So do you agree it was the most brilliant picks in the history of picks?
At the beginning of this film, the beginning of this podcast, just like when I first, watched The Big Hit, I was hating it. I was like, fuck these picks. But you know what? I went a full 180. Actually, I went 360 I went from hate to love to hate, but then I went a 180 and loved again. So I'm loving it.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Cool. I'm glad you liked it. I wasn't sure if you would or not, but
you never know with me.
Yeah.
Or with you. So do you have anything else to say for yourself?
Until next time.
That's true. So next time, guys, until next time, definitely check us out on all of our social medias, Twitter, Instagram, and check out all the past episodes on YouTube, which this will be premiering on every Monday. I think that's it. If you like this, subscribe. If not, go and thrive. I'll let Matt have the last word, especially because it's Matt Week.
Bye.